Welcome back to Amy Lynn Creative. I am a brand photographer in the Midwest, and I am sharing tips and tricks for photography business owners as they grow their businesses. I am in this video talking about the new Google search algorithm change that is coming in May of 2021. Yes, this video is somewhat dated, but I am just going to share from a photographer's perspective what you can look out for, what changes you might want to make to your website in preparation for this update. So first of all, I need to give a very special thanks to Kate Scott Co. She is a Squarespace designer who talked about this on her Instagram stories, and that's how I found out about the update. So she has a really great highlight on her Instagram called Google that she will leave up until May 1st from what she said. And it was just really helpful as a general overview of the algorithm change and what it means. And I'm approaching it from a little different angle of being a photographer. Let's talk about what this change means and what it doesn't mean. So the Google algorithm is changing, but it is changing in May. I will link in the description the actual information from Google that you can read all about, but I'm just going to summarize it in this video, and then I'm going to do a screen share showing you my Pagespeed Insights for my website. Basically, this update is, in a nutshell, putting more emphasis on client experience. So as part of SEO, or search engine optimization, one of the metrics that Google has started looking at in the past is, okay, does your website have a mobile responsive view? So does it look good on a mobile phone? Does it load quickly, etc.? Now Google is just putting more weight on those things. So Google is putting more weight on a user's experience once they get to your website. So let's dive into this a little bit more. The first thing to remember before you freak out is that we're all in the same boat. So as photographers, our images tend to be a little bit more image heavy, and as a result may not load as quickly. However, all photographers are in that same boat. So while we do absolutely want to make sure our websites load as quickly as possible, just remember that your Pagespeed Insights score might not be reflective of your actual client experience or your the actual experience of someone coming to your website. And the other thing to note is that unless you're totally coding your own website or you have someone who's coding it for you, you actually don't have a lot of control over most of the things that affect this update. Most of these things are actually behind the scenes things. So if you have a website through Wix or Squarespace or Showit, a lot of these things are outside your control anyway, and so you just can't do anything about it. You can't worry about it. But there are a few things you can do, so I'm going to share those. A few things that photographers can do. First of all, you want to make sure that your images are compressed as much as possible. Now, Davey and Krista are Showit designers, and they have an awesome blog post on their website talking about image sizing for Showit. And that would apply to other websites as well. So exporting your images from your editing software in a certain size so that they look really crisp and really sharp on your website but aren't taking up as much space. So I will link that in the description below as well. But you can also use a software like Jpeg Mini to actually magically decrease the size of your image, the file size of your image, without losing any quality. Now, that is a paid software, and I will link it below. However, if you use Cloudspot for your gallery system, Cloudspot actually already is integrated with Jpeg Mini. This is something they introduced last year, I think, where all the galleries that are uploaded are automatically compressed magically without losing quality by Jpeg Mini when they're uploaded to the site. So you can take your website images, if you have them all in a folder, upload them to Cloudspot, make a gallery for yourself, re-download those files, and the file sizes will be slightly smaller. I did that with almost all of my website images, and that actually really helped my page speed, my page load faster. Another thing you can do is move your portfolio off important pages. So if there are pages you really want to show up on Google, like your weddings page or your home page. For me, my home page is where I want people to start. So that's the page that I really want to show up on Google. But I had my portfolio on my home page, and it was a sliding gallery in Showit, and it was taking up a ton of space because that gallery requires a decent amount of code, and all of that code that had to run plus the images that had to load made a very, very big slow spot in the middle of my website. So I moved my portfolio from my main page to a separate page, and now my website is just going to link to that other portfolio page. I also removed all my embedded YouTube videos. Anything you embed, so your contact form, your any YouTube videos that you embed on a page will slow it down because there's that embed code that's behind the scenes that has to load. So what I did, because I had my brand videography portfolio, I, on my homepage, just put a photo with a YouTube icon over the top of it, and when they click that, it actually takes them straight to YouTube instead of having an embedded video on that homepage. Now, if I moved my contact form, that would have sped things up a little bit more. I actually really wanted my contact form on my homepage, so that's a sacrifice I decided to make because I really wanted that on my homepage, so I left it. But if you have like an email list embed form, things like that, those are going to slow down your website. So those are some practical tips of things you can do. Another thing I'm going to do is show you Pagespeed Insights, which is a tool from Google. Pagespeed Insights is an actual tool from Google that will run your website and kind of give you a worst case scenario as to how it's loading. I'm going to show you mine. You can put any website in here. Again, it takes a minute. Now, I just want to clarify, this is not the be-all, end-all, and the goal is not 100%. The goal is to just be better than it was before. So for me, my score looks really abysmal because you can see the rating system here, but it's actually faster than it was, so I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah. So up here there's two tabs, mobile and desktop. My desktop score is much higher than my mobile score. One of the things, so when I was talking about how things are outside of your control, the first contentful paint, largest contentful paint, cumulative layout shift is really, they're weighting that metric pretty heavily in the new algorithm. You don't have any control over that if you're not coding your website. So Squarespace, Showit, they all do that behind the scenes. I have talked to Showit and they said that cumulative layout shift is actually a really something that their developers are working on as far as solving some of those issues. You can Google cumulative layout shift. I am not an expert. Again, I'm a photographer, not a website coder. But that is just a quick tip there, something else for you to research if you really want to. Basically has to do with how graphics appear and then like move a little bit before they finish loading. And then it's going to give you some suggestions here as to what you could do. And it tells you what's slowing things down. This preload the image used by the LCP element, that's not something that you can tell Showit to do. So that is Pagespeed's Insights. And again, like this score of 14 is almost double what it was before I made changes. So I'm going to call that a win, and I'm going to keep working on downsizing my images. I have a few more to go, but those are the changes that I'm making to my website. So, okay, I hope that helps give you a good overview. I hope that wasn't overwhelming. Or I hope it helps simplify or not scare you as much. Open your website in an incognito window in Google and see which part of your website takes the longest to load and what can you do to either move that to a different page or make it faster. Hope that helps. Please like and subscribe and follow along with me on Instagram at AmyLynn Creative _ for photogs.